all wish we could be together in person today, but it is a joy to be with you virtually and feel the love of this community being sent out from your kitchen tables and couches and iPads. We welcome you and we thank you for being with us today. So who are we as Community Church? We are a progressive, open-minded, and inclusive religious community. We welcome all who are on a spiritual search for truth and meaning. Ours is a faith in action as we do the work of social justice and elevate compassion in our quest to live ethically, recognizing the inherent worth and dignity of every being. So please look to your weekly email for announcements. I will just lift up that today is the last day to get in your surveys that have been sent out via email, and you can also get the link for that on your Community Matters email. So please let us hear your voice on that. So first I'd like to welcome Nicholas Yetter as our musical guest and thank him for being with us. And I'm also delighted to welcome Cynthia Ramirez to our pulpit today, and I'm wearing my Star Trek Enterprise t-shirt in her honor. Cynthia Ramirez is a multimedia artist who has exhibited her work in numerous local, national, and international exhibitions. She received a BFA in painting and printmaking from Virginia Commonwealth University and an MFA in painting and printmaking from the University of New Orleans. She is a professor of fine art at Southern University at New Orleans and teaches visual art at NORDC. She has taught 8 years in the visual arts program for the Orleans Parish Public Schools. She was program coordinator for the Art Council of New Orleans Urban Arts Training Program, a summer job program for youth creating public art in the New Orleans community. She was awarded an Adolph Gottlieb Emergency Assistance Grant and Joan Mitchell Assistance Grant. She has created a Day of the Dead altar at the Louisiana State Museum, Cabildo, the U.S. Mint, the Ogden Museum of Art, and the Jazz and Heritage Festival in New Orleans. She has served as a panelist for the Visual Arts Fellowship for the Louisiana Endowment for the Arts and the National Endowment of the Arts Visual Arts Grant Panel for Arts Education. She's a founding member of the Second Story Gallery Artists Co-op at the New Orleans Healing Center. And she has been our beloved religious education director at CCUU from 2006 to 2007 and 2012 to present, and we're so happy to have her at our pulpit today. And now let's begin our worship in earnest with our chalice lighting. This flame to affirm the light of truth and knowledge and the warmth of love and community and the fire of hope and commitment. And to all of our beloved community, I do apologize for my musical stylings, and I promise that Nicholas will be handling it from here on in. And now I'm going to invite Cynthia to come on up for our Time for All Ages.
Good morning, everybody. So, we're going to learn why space, can y'all hear me? Okay, why space aliens haven't destroyed the planet yet. Dave and his candy bar had wandered off from the group in order to be alone for a bit. They found a secluded part of the park, and Dave sat down on the grass, holding the candy bar gently but firmly in his hand. It was a sort of an open area surrounded by trees, slightly rounded and maybe 20 feet in diameter. Although being only 6 years old, Dave probably didn't know what diameter was. The candy bar certainly didn't know. He had been in the clearing had you been with him in the clearing with him that day, well, first of all, you'd see something really weird about to happen. But you'd probably think that Dave was a pretty typical kid. Certainly he didn't look all that unusual and might easily have blended in with the crowd of quiet children. But it wouldn't last long because sooner or later the other kids would be a bit rambunctious and want to run around and make a lot of noise, but not Dave. Dave hardly ever spoke. didn't like to run around and make noise, and usually preferred to sit quietly and read a book and watch video, or in this case, eating a candy bar. The other kids liked Dave all right, but some of them were put off by his gentle, quiet ways. In the world that can't ever seem to shut up, quiet people are often viewed as suspicious. Thus isolated, Dave proceeded to carefully unwrap the candy bar and was about to take the first bite when he saw lights above his head. He looked up and understandably surprised to see a spaceship descend from the sky. He watched in amazement as the spaceship settled down only a few feet from where he was seated. After the ship, which looked just like what you probably imagined, round, disc-like, with mechanical legs that unfolded upon landing. It lit up the grass with surprising grace, and a door slid open on one side, and a ramp descended. There appeared a creature which only can be described as a space alien. Tall, green, with 6 long fingers on each hand, making for a total of 24 fingers overall. Big black eyes and legs that looked more like tentacles. It was wearing a blue outfit and seemed, to Dave at least, to be smiling in a friendly manner. This creature walked more like slithered up to Dave, and when it spoke, did so in a surprising friendly voice. "Greetings, Earthlings. My name is Gygar, and I'm from the planet Ramzuk. Many, many light years from here. My people and I have been observing this planet, and for thousands Geldars, or slightly less than 92 of your Earth years. And frankly, we have not been happy for what we have seen. Half of you are starving, while the other half is obese. 99% of you work like dogs to maintain a lifestyle of the 1% who have all the money. You go to war with people who have a slightly different interpretation of books written eons ago, before any of you were ever born. And the less said about what you watch on television, the better. We have therefore decided that for the good of the universe, your planet will be destroyed. We are not, however, without mercy, which is why I have come to you today to offer your species one last chance to redeem yourself. We selected you at random out of all 6.5 billion humans on this planet to be the envoy for all mankind. If you can give one good reason not to blow up the earth, I will not. So human, for the sake of all life on the planet, I ask you, why should the earth be spared? For a moment, David said nothing. It was a lot to take in, after all. Suddenly, the weight of the world was resting on the 6-year-old's shoulders, and he wasn't sure he was up to it. In fact, he thought seriously about crying and running away, which is normal, a good idea when you're facing something scary. But Dave figured that would probably count as a forfeit, and Gygar would blow up the earth. So scrambling around for the idea, he looked down at his hands. That's when a thought occurred to him, and he extended his left hand. Confused, Gygar opened one of his right hands and allowed the small human to place something brown and half covered by a plastic wrapper in his green palm. He had never seen anything like this before, so he wasn't sure what it was. He looked at it carefully, then looked down at Dave, and Dave mimed eating, explaining to the alien what he was supposed to do with the candy bar. Gygar shrugged and bit into the chocolate, and his eyes, already large, grew wide, and his smile broadened. He licked his lips and took another bite and another and another. "This is the most delicious thing I have ever tasted," said Gygar. "What do you call it? Oh, wait, I see it on the wrapper. Chocolate?" He pronounced the O and the A wrong, but it was quite enough. It was close enough for Dave, and nodded. "And you say you make this on Earth?" Dave nodded. "Well, I think we better just take another look at this whole situation. Thank you, small human. Oh, here." And he added, holding what was left of the candy bar out to Dave. But Dave shook his head. "You mean I can have it?" Dave nodded. "Wow, thanks. With that, Geiger turned around and got back into his spaceship and took off in the sky. It was about that time that Dave was found by his teacher and he turned to the group. He had no way of knowing that after their conversation, Geiger had assessed his ship's vast database and of information and learned that chocolate needs to be grown a very particular climate, and that for all the planets in the civilized space, only Earth had the necessary conditions to produce the delicious crop. And that is how this quiet little boy saved the entire world and introduced chocolate to the other end of the galaxy. Next time you see him, say thanks.
Our first reading today is Lament by Rainier Maria Rilke. Oh, how all things are far removed and long have passed away. I do believe the star whose light my face reflects is dead and has been so for many thousand years. I had a vision of a passing boat and heard some voices saying disquieting things. I heard a clock strike in some distant house, but in which house? I long to quiet my anxious heart and stand beneath the sky's immensity. I long to pray, and one of all the stars must still exist. I do believe that I would know which one alone endured, and which, like a white city, stands at the ray's end, shining in the heavens. Community Church Unitarian Universalist is a self-sustaining congregation. Members and friends' generosity help us do the sacred work of bringing justice, spirituality, and compassion to our community and beyond. You can give online at ccuunola.org/stewardship or by text at 504-370-2659, and then you can text GIVE to that number. You can also send a check to CCUU at 6690 Fleur de Lis Drive, New Orleans, Louisiana, 70124. Thank you so much for your support. Now is our sacred time for joys and sorrows. So you can put your joys and sorrows in the comments box on whatever platform you are watching on right now, to be read after our musical interlude. Thank you so much. All right. So we have a sorrow from Jada, who says, I have been dealing with depression and anxiety. We're so sorry to hear that, Jada, but we are holding you in our heart and wishing you the best. And Vera requests thoughts and prayers for Jim's cataract surgery tomorrow. Yes, Jim, we're all with you and hoping things go very smoothly tomorrow, and best wishes for a speedy recovery. And I would just like to share a joy for our wonderful tech team, Amelia and Kat, who spent a lot of time yesterday making a very quick transition to a virtual setup so that we could be together virtually today. So I want to thank them for that. And we'll light 2 more candles, one for the joys that are bubbling up and 2 new to share, and the other for the sorrows that are too much to give words to right now. Know that however you're feeling today, your community is with you and shares your pain and happiness and holds you in our hearts today. Thank you. Now we will have our second reading from Captain Kirk.
Be deeply involved. It must be unanimous.
Well, then I still want one question answered to my satisfaction. Why? Not a list of possible miracles, but a simple, basic, understandable why that overrides all danger. Let's not kid ourselves that there is no potential danger in this.
They used to say that if man were meant to fly, he'd have wings. But he did fly. He discovered he had to. I don't believe we can stop. In fact, through all our existence, the frightened and faint-hearted have been warning men not to push any further, not to learn any more, not to hope, grow, and exceed themselves. I don't believe we can stop. I don't believe we're meant to. Do you wish the first Apollo mission hadn't reached the moon, or we hadn't gone on to Mars and then to the nearest star, that's like saying you wish that you still operated with scalpels and sewed your patients up with catgut like your great-great-great-great-grandfather used to. I'm in command. I could order this. But I'm not. Because Dr. McCoy is right in pointing out the enormous danger potential in any contact with life and intelligence as fantastically advanced as this. But I must point out that the possibilities, the potential for knowledge and advancement is equally great. Risk is our business. That's what the Starship is all about. That's why we're aboard her. You may dissent without prejudice. Do I hear a negative vote?
We are slowed down sound and light waves, a walking bundle of frequencies tuned into the cosmos. We are souls dressed up in sacred biochemical garments, and our bodies are the instruments through which our souls play their music. Albert Einstein. What is it about the cosmos? Why do we want to go there? There is infinity. There are planets, quasars, asteroids, black holes, and wormholes to be explored. I panic when I see how vast it is. If I were to go up in a spaceship and something goes wrong, I will float around forever. What will happen to my body, my soul? The Aztec and Mayan believed that when you die, your essence or your souls go back into the Milky Way, where it originated. I believe humankind desires to explore other planets and galaxies to reveal answers to humankind's origins. It is magnificent. The beauty, grace, and danger are its draw, as we heard in Kirk's speech. It encourages humankind to expand its mental capacities and limits. Teamwork is essential, and together we can reach new heights. Last Sunday, July 11th, Sir Richard Branson and his Unity 22 team made history by becoming the first privatized suborbital flight to reach the edge of space to usher in the age of space tourism. This new space race is led by billionaires reaching new heights to expand their fortunes and humankind's curiosity. On February 18th, 2021, NASA's Perseverance touched down on Mars with a pinpoint landing and was a collaborative effort from many nations. For 3 years, it will collect core samples and will photograph Mars like no other previous rover. Perseverance is carrying a little friend named Ingenuity. On April 19th, 2021, Ingenuity Mars helicopter became the first aircraft in history to make a powered, controlled flight on another planet. Absolutely incredible. Unbelievable. What humankind can achieve when they reach for the stars. As a member of the Planetary Society, I am proud that there are microphones on the rover so that we can hear for the first time the sounds of Mars. There have been microphones on previous rovers, but they were all damaged on impact with the surface of the planet. I cannot wait to hear the eerie sounds of this mysterious planet. The main mission to Mars is to study the water on the planet and find evidence showing that life was on Mars billions of years ago. Scientists believe solar wind and radiation are responsible for stripping the Martian atmosphere, transforming Mars from a planet that could have supported life billions of years ago into a frigid desert world. Today, with newer revealing evidence, some scientists theorize that life on Earth originated on Mars. Mars was the god of war. He was the founder of Rome. He was the god equivalent to the Greek god Ares. The planet Mars is named after him. Mars was son of Jupiter and Juno, and his symbol was the ancel, which is a sacred shield. Mars was fooled into marrying an old goddess disguised as Minerva. The month of March is also named after him. Mars was tall and handsome, but he was vain, and the other gods did not like him very much. He was also the patron of soldiers. I find it interesting the gods of the ancients are still important today as they were then. We are still going to the gods for the answers to questions. Today, we go there in the name of science. In 1980, the astrophysicist Carl Sagan and Lewis Friedman and Bruce Murray founded the Planetary Society. They realized there was great public interest in space, but that this interest was not fully supported by government because NASA's budget was constantly being cut. They believed that the public should financially support the space program, and today you see the Society's mission with the billionaires Elon Musk's SpaceX, Jeff Bezos' Blue Origins, Richard Branson's Unity 22, and Northrop Grumman's Innovative Systems rockets and ships. There are other public investors in the rocket building race, and widespread private investing will grow with these successful missions. The Planetary Society funded, all by private funds, the Light Sail, a vision of Carl Sagan that explored the idea of sailing the solar winds of space so that we could sail longer distances without the problem of running out of fuel. It launched June 25th, 2019, and uses sunlight alone to change its orbit. And it is currently operating under an extended mission to further advance solar sailing technology. The cosmos is all that is, or ever was, or ever will be. Carl Sagan. I've been watching a lot of sci-fi shows lately, and several of them suggest that the ancient gods of Earth are actually extraterrestrials, visiting Earth for tens of thousands of years. There are voluminous resources to delve into for all these shows. As an artist, it always bothers me when people question whether humans could have built the great monuments like the Great Pyramids in Egypt and the Pyramids of the Americas. I know what people are capable of when they apply their incredible imaginations, and religion is a powerful motivator. One of these shows, Stargate SG-1, went on for 10 seasons. Quite an accomplishment, and the writers never ran out of material. Some of these gods were very strange looking, like composites of creatures, and they could also look human but have unusual powers. This was just out of this world. This makes for great sci-fi stories. The ancient Sumerians and Egyptians were always depicted in these shows. The Egyptians, like the Sumerians, knew much about the celestial heavens, and some of their gods were in the sky and are the actual stars and constellations. They were masters of the cosmos. It was a major part of their religion. Several ancient cultures' most powerful deities come from the sky. Ra in Egypt, Juno and Hera, the Greek and Roman queen of the gods. Jupiter and Zeus were a leader among gods. Ashra was a Hebrew sky goddess, and Anu was a Sumerian king of the gods and associated with the sky. I have always viewed Earth and universe as sacred. I believe it comes from my Native American ancestry. According to legend, Native Americans were constantly being visited by extraterrestrials, and it is believed to continue to this day, as evident in the reported crash landing of the UFO in the 1940s in Roswell, New Mexico, where people come from all around to experience this phenomenon. The renowned Area 51, the secret military facility, is mysterious and is rumored to house alien cadavers and alien technologies. It is believed that some of the aliens survived the crash and are still alive today. Both sites are near some of the most sacred sites to the indigenous people. I was asked if modern humans are missing something since they cannot see the sky as the ancient people did due to light pollution. I can answer this question with a personal experience on my journey to Guatemala. I stayed there for a week in the jungles at the ruins in Tikal. It was truly amazing. The first night was very scary in that the complex turned off the generator at 9 p.m. I realized then that I did not know what darkness was really like. I could not see my hand in front of my face, not to mention the howler monkeys, coming out at night, and they seemed to reach into the depth of some primordial realm and call out into the pitch black with a deep, guttural howl. It was just terrifying. Dorothy, we are not in Kansas anymore. The next night, the staff took us to a clearing in the jungle to view the night sky. It was unbelievable. I never knew how many objects were up there and can be seen with the naked eye from Earth. There were so many. I walked slumped over because the stars seemed so close. I felt claustrophobic. I saw the Milky Way for the first time. I saw shooting stars and other things that I did not recognize. Just great and wonderful things. There was not a vacant space in the night sky. As I watched in awe, I began to realize why the ancient humans were so preoccupied with these celestial objects. It was powerful. It was a dominant part of their visual world. I was not even seeing half of what they were able to see. Because of this powerful visual, humans began to study the movement of these objects and began to use them as tools for planting crops, navigating seas, and build incredible structures that were built for the gods and are aligned to the constellation and other celestial phenomena. I believe because of this absence, modern humans have lost their ability to see that we are part of something that is greater than ourselves, and we have disconnected from it. So that is why we disrespect the earth, and we believe that we are the gods, and we decide what should live or die. And this from the great philosophers Elton John and Bernie Taupin. While Mona Lisas and Mad Hatters, sons of bankers, sons of lawyers, turn around and say good morning to the night. For unless they see the sky, but they can't, and that is why. They know not if it's dark outside or light. They know not if it's dark outside or light. Recently, there have been strange radio waves known as fast radio bursts, or FRBs, coming from our galaxy. This is an important discovery because scientists have been receiving radio waves in the past, and most appearing to be coming from outside of the galaxy. and it is hard to distinguish where they originate. These new radio waves are different. They are consistent, not just a one-time event, which is common. These come from the middle of the Milky Way and appear to have sprouted from some incredible, powerful zombie star lurking in our galaxy. I love that terminology, zombie star. Just right for a sci-fi episode. They are also called magnetars. They are now believed to be the source of the FRBs outside of the galaxy. Wouldn't it be cool if they were not? Could they be messages from these faux gods just wanting to connect with us? The Aztecs may have heard, the ancients may have heard and accepted these messages as prophetic. One of my favorite movies is 2010, A Space Odyssey, the sequel to Stanley Kubrick's masterpiece, 1968's 2001, A Space Odyssey, set 9 years after the ill-fated USS Discovery's mission to Jupiter and its moon, Europa and Io. The movie is famous for the murderous supercomputer HAL 2000, which killed four members of the crew and is suspected in the disappearance of Commander David Bowman. Dr. Hayward Floyd, the ex-head of the National Council of Astronomics, who was blamed for the fiasco, returns with the Soviet crew to investigate what really happened to Bowman and what made HAL go nuts. As the Russian ship approaches Europa, they detect chloroform, an element that is present on plants with life forms, not icy, lifeless moons. They send a probe, and it is destroyed by a burst of energy. The black, mysterious monoliths that were seen at the ending of the original movie is prevalent in the sequel. This time, a large monolith is located around Jupiter's orbit and the empty USS Discovery. The most famous line from both movies is after Commander Bowman reaches the monolith and states, "My God, they're full of stars." This statement blew my mind and inspired me to create a body of work that featured black boxes filled with light. These vessels that contained nothing but everything. This concept intrigues me to this day. Mind blown. Just like every good sci-fi story, it can talk about complex social and political issues and not sound preachy. In this case, it addresses the US and Soviet conflicts of the early 80s. In this scenario, there is an imminent war between two superpowers. Incredibly, some highly ascended being, of course, wiser than us, saves the day by creating a wonderful thing. In this case, is the imploding of Jupiter, which was created by being consumed by billions and billions of monoliths. This implosion creates a second sun in the Earth's sky. This incredible phenomena inspires both leaders of the conflicting countries to withdraw their troops and stand down. After being told the truth of its last mission, HAL's final broadcast to Earth is, "All these worlds are yours except Europa. Attempt no landing there, use them together, and use them in peace." This statement is important in today's energized space exploration. We need to take care of the planets we study and visit. Our space waste and intrusion could destroy the complex planetary atmospheres of these distant planets. And there are some planets and moons we need to leave alone. We don't have to conquer everything. We must learn from our evolutionary past. I have dreams of floating in nebulas, awashed in their colors and beauty, gently perceiving the creation of a new star, even though it probably is an event of great energy. I lose myself in the images of the Hubble telescope. I feel as if I belong in them. It seems like home. I believe I am reacting to them in a primordial way. I feel my subparticles guiding me back to them. I feel this draw the older I get, and I'm okay with it. When I die, I wish I could have my ashes put into space so I can become part of this magnificent universe for eternity and send out fast radio bursts to anyone who wants to hear them. May space be with you, and of course, live long and prosper. The benediction comes from the great astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson. The day our knowledge of the cosmos ceased to expand, we risk regressing to the childish view that the universe figuratively and literally revolves around us. In that bleak world, arms-bearing, resource-hungry people and nations would be prone to act on their low, contracted prejudices. And that would be the last gasp of human enlightenment until the rise of a visionary new culture that could once again embrace the cosmic perspective.